Hello, in today's video we will learn CORS. Okay, so if I go to my browser, there are two applications. One is running on origin HTTP localhost 4200 and the second one is running on different origin which is HTTP localhost 8080. So both application URLs are different. Okay, so if I uh, go to my this URL 1 which is my backend URL, it is giving me correct response. If I go to my URL 2 which is my front-end URL, here my front-end application is working fine because it is hosted on this URL 2, whereas my backend application that it's trying to communicate with, it is failing. Okay, so if I go to the network tab and see what the issue is, if I refresh, I see that there is a backend call to my backend application which is failing. So if I go to the console and try to read the error, it says Ajax request at URL 8080 from origin 4200 has been blocked by CORS policy. So the browser blocked it. Okay, so my URL 1 which is running on 4200, when it tries to access resources on URL 2 which is running on 8080 without CORS allowed origin coming from URL 2, because this is not allowing CORS request, so browser blocked this URL 2 request. Now in order to fix it, we need to implement CORS filter which will allow this URL, and this CORS filter we will implement in this application so that this application will respond to all the requests that are coming to this application via this URL, as well as it will allow requests that are coming from 4200 URL. Okay, so this server is able to respond to all the requests that are coming to this his own URL, as well as it will respond to the request that are coming from a different origin. Let me show you the code. So let me uncomment it. Actually, I'm using a Spring CORS filter over here. This is a filter that is provided by Spring. In Servlet also we have CORS filter, and but this requires minimum steps to configure. So I'm using this Spring framework filter. Although that Servlet filter and this CORS filter both are same, performing same task, but this one I'm using because I can change the configurations during runtime as well, because Spring allows it. So I'm using this benefit feature of Spring and using CORS filter of Spring. So how to like use it? We just need to create the object of this CORS filter in our configuration file. Okay, and when creating this object, it requires one source, and this source requires some configurations. And what configurations we are doing? We are setting allowed credential, we are setting allowed origins, allowed headers, and allowed methods. In allowed origins, we are saying this backend application to allow all the requests that are coming to this backend application, as well as also allow the requests that are coming from different origin, that is coming from 4200 port. So these requests also my this backend application should allow. Okay, so generally we here mention the list of URLs of our front-end applications which are on different origins. So comma separated list of URLs we provide over here, and apart from that, the headers those requests are coming with. So we say that these headers should come in the request, then only this cross origin request will be accepted. And also we are saying these are the methods that are allowed in cross origin request sharing. Okay, so if I run this application now, my server is getting started. So it's up. Now if I refresh this page, you can see my browser is rendering the response that is coming from cross origin. Okay, so if I remove enable the breakpoints and refresh the page again, you can see that my request before reaching to the controller, since it's a filter which is intercepting in between, so my request is going to Spring Framework CORS filter, and here in this class what it is doing, it is comparing the request header origin that is coming with my localhost 4200 request. So here the URL is of my front end application, so which is coming from my front end request. So it is comparing it with allowed origin list. You remember when I'm starting the server, I told my backend application to allow all the requests which are coming from these domains. So this is already populated with these two URLs which I set up during the backend server startup. So since these are equal, so it's a valid request for backend. Now backend can respond to it. And if I go here, I can see backend is also checking for headers, backend is also checking for methods. Okay, this backend Spring CORS filter already checking the origin, method, headers, and all of this if get passed, then the response header, it is setting allowed origin value. Apart from that, allowed methods, then credentials, and then returning the response to the browser. So if I go to the browser and do the inspect, now if I go to refresh this page, okay, when I'm refreshing, I can see my backend call is now 200. Okay, server is responding, and server is responding with a few additional response headers that it is saying that allow origin 4200, access control allow origin, access control allow credential, methods. These headers coming in the response. Okay, so now the browser sees that my request origin is of 4200, but the response it is making to a different origin. The request when it is making to a different origin, then the server is saying of that different origin that allow the request for this particular origin. So browser will not block this CORS request, so browser will allow cross origin resource sharing now, because the backend is saying to allow the request coming from this origin. So I try to demonstrate to you this. I hope I am very much clear with my this demo. If you like it, kindly subscribe my channel and also like this video. I will upload more videos, and thanks for giving me time. Have a good day.